everyone, welcome back. It's Annette Green and I am working in my nature notebook, nature planner again today, using wonderful Elizabeth Craft Design products, and we're going to do a little craft with me today. So I always like to kind of flip through and show you what we have seen already. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can find all my planner posts by clicking on the playlist when you get there. And you'll find all kinds of planner videos, so you'll probably see most of these things that I've done in this particular planner, plus my other planners that I keep. So as you can see in this nature planner, I am moving through all the seasons. The look and feel changes dramatically as we get through fall time and winter, and then it starts to become springtime, and then we move into summertime. And I have this little release sheet here because I have adhesive behind those little leaves, but we're going to kind of pick up where I've left off here. And this was a live Facebook Live video I did for Elizabeth Craft Designs, and I will link to that particular video below because they do save all their Facebook Lives to their YouTube channel. So I will link it so you can see what I did, the technique of doing watercolor and using your dies as stencils, and then you can watch that after this. But for today we're just going to take these pages and I'm going to take my photos and I'm going to tell you which dies I used and the watercolors and all the products and how I kind of go about putting my pages together. Now this is one of those rare instances where the pages are already done and all I had to do was measure my photo areas and then print my photos out. Usually it goes the other way. I say, okay, which photos do I want to use? And I start laying out pages based on those numbers of photos and the colors, and then I design the pages. But this just happened to work out very nicely that I used all these bright, cheerful pinks and yellows because in my phone, in my photos, I knew that I had these. So as you can see, there are duplicates of each one, and I've talked about this before in other videos. I do this because I'm already using an 8.5 by 11 photo sheet of paper, and I know I'm only going to do like 4 photos, so I go ahead and I print them twice. That's just to not waste the paper, and also if I have some sort of error in cutting, I slide with the trimmer and I cut one crooked, I have another one. There are also times where I might actually get these on the page and then I bump them with some ink or something and I need to peel them up and replace them. So it's always nice to have that extra set. But you can see my summertime flowers, dandelions, and all kinds of cute things, and even this little June beetle. They're going to make it on the pages today. And so to start with, this page was on the back side of this one, and so this particular die is just the full page die from the Sidekick Essentials 4 set. It has no tab on it, it's just a regular page. So that's that one. We'll talk about this little guy, but then this page with the little side tab is Sidekick Essentials 3. So you can see the little tab is there, and I have flipped it when I die cut so it's up toward the top. So there's those two. And then going back to this one, well, let's go back to this one. Might as well start at the beginning. This is a cute little tag type of element inside of Sidekick Essentials 11. This is an awesome set. I haven't used it quite enough yet, but I do like to use this one. And so that's what that is. This great leaf is called Lacy Leaves. And of course, I'm going to link to all these things in the description box below the video so that you can easily click and find your way. The word garden is from Sidekick Essentials 16, the seed packet set. And let's see, did I use anything else in here? Yes, this little treatment right here was used as a hinge, which I talk about in that Facebook Live video. To hinge this particular frame to the page, and the frame comes from Sidekick Essentials 1, and as you can see there's a basic frame, but then there's other words you can pop up in the bottom. Framed, noted, love this, oh, what does that say backwards? I can't tell. And then this says today. That's when I need to cut those out and put them on the back so I know what they say. But anyway, I chose Love This. And then I also have all these great flowers and leaves, and those come from the Florals 13 set. So let's get started cutting some of these photos and getting them onto my pages. I will take these out to do this part of it so they're nice and flat on my table. And of course I didn't mention the watercolors. Elizabeth Crafts now has them back in stock, the wonderful 24 set of watercolors I used extensively on a lot of these pages. So let me grab my photos and let's get started cutting them down to size. Alright, I think today I will go ahead and use a nice sharp craft knife and a ruler to cut these out. Sometimes that's a little easier. But as always, I measure my little spaces that I have for the photos, and I write down what photo I have chosen, and then I size all those in Photoshop. That's what I use, and then I print them all on one sheet like this. So we're going to start with this one. This guy is called, I went to an app on my phone, iNaturalist, which is wonderful because it helps you look up. It could be flowers, it could be trees, it could be little critters like this. But I went and I identified all these wonderful things here. So the little white flower here is a mountain laurel, just in case you're curious. And I have this nifty quilting ruler that I like to use. It holds down the paper all the way across. You know, sometimes when you use a skinny ruler and you go to use it, it might slide across the page a little bit. But this kind of holds everybody down real nicely. So I'm just going to cut right up to the edge of these photos, and I may have to adjust that later, but we're going to start just with the white one. So let me get this cut out. You guys don't have to watch me cut the rest of it, but I'll get all these cut out and then I will be right back. Okay, well, sure enough, I cut the ruler slid and I cut this one crooked, so I'm glad I have these extras. I cut a new one out up here. All right, so I have all my little photos ready to go. And I noticed right away that this is a little detail, you guys, but this little inner part of this frame thingy is a little rounded. So I'm going to grab my little 3-way corner punch, and I'm going to use the smallest little one to cut and round the corner. And I should check it real quick just to make sure that's pretty darn good. So I'm going to do that just to this one. I think all the other spaces are just squared off. And I have stopped using liquid glue to attach photos just in case I have a boo-boo and I need to peel up the photo. The page elements, that's a whole different story. Those are down for good. But you can always use, you know, undo to get things up that have been taped down. All right, so that looks pretty cute, and I can press those down. They had some adhesive on them. That looks good. And then we will go over to my little flip panel here, and that's where I have my just basic dandelion. But he was, this little bumblebee was on there, little bee was on there doing his good work. So that was a great shot. Most of these photos, with the exception of the pink flowers coming, they are from a hike that my daughter took me on for Mother's Day. We drove up to North Carolina. We live in South Carolina, but to drive up to North Carolina is just, gosh, not even barely an hour, moving from state to state, and so we can go to the mountains anytime we want. Okay, so that is done. And now we have this side, and we have this cool thing, this curly, kind of funny looking plant. I just was so intrigued with it. So I looked it up on my little app, and it's called a cinnamon fern. And they're all curled up like that. So I guess eventually it will uncurl. Maybe that's part of the either dormant process, sleeping process, or just growing process. I don't know. So I made sure that this was a nice, tall, skinny photo for this area. And the colors work out nicely. And so I have this blank area that will be a great place to identify and to say something about the hike and something about this particular plant. Of course, I can label this one over here and maybe write dandelion over here. So those are done. And then we have this page over here, which this is going to look really great. Let's make sure. Yep, goes this way, I think. Yeah. I think that it needs to have some sort of matting behind it, and I'm probably going to pull something that has that kind of bright pink. But I also have this great little June beetle, and his colors are just perfect. And I don't normally do this, but I kind of want to see how it's going to look if I cut him out. I rarely do this with photos. I do fussy cut a lot of things, but usually it is not a photo. And he's got these little legs, so it might look funny, but this is why we do it, and this is how we find out if we like it or not. Just give it a try. If you're like me and you've been like scrapbooking for a long time, you remember how, gosh, when I first started scrapbooking, I was using all kinds of funny like Fisker scissors to cut out photos. Sometimes I was fussy cutting out people in photos. It's just what we did back then. I don't really do that anymore. Let's see, he's got a little shadow. So I'll just kind of try to find his body and not get that shadow. And I think that's his little leg. It looks so much shorter than the other guy, the other leg. All right, let's see. We're almost there. Let's see how we like it. I'm curious what you guys think. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this right here real quick. Okay. All right, so what do we think? I like it. I think I'm going to do it. I think it's cute. I mean, if you think about just putting another square photo there, it's not as interesting. I think that's kind of cute. So he's going to stay. I could cut out two of them because I have the extra and put another one up here, but I think I'm just going to go with the one. Okay, let me figure out a matte situation here and I'll be right back. Okay, so initially I thought, well, I'll just grab some bright pink cardstock, and yes, that would work. However, everything here has been watercolored, so to me that doesn't make sense to then introduce this cardstock. So we could just go with white. Don't love it. It's okay. But this happens to be cut out of the Elizabeth Crafts soft finish white, so we might as well grab our watercolors, right? And maybe try to mimic this kind of color pink that we had in that cardstock. So I'm looking to see if there's any water in my water brush, and there is. Okay. This watercolor palette, I have to say, and I have been dabbling a lot in watercolors lately, it is an excellent quality of paint. I have tried lots of different kinds, and I've compared on watercolor paper and the soft finish white and all kinds of things, and this really is a very, very nice palette quality wise. So I'm just mixing over here some colors, trying to get that nice pink. Okay, and maybe just to kind of make things go a little quicker, I'm going to spray a little water on the piece so this color can flow. And we know we don't need to fill out the whole thing because the photo is going to be over the top. We're just going to see these outside edges, and the less perfect the better. In fact, instead of going into the palette over here, I'm going to just grab some color, a little darker, and touch it in directly to the paper. So it might look weird and blobby right now while it's wet, but when we dry it, it will have a nice look to it. And we may even have to go darker. We'll see. So let's put a little heat on that. All right, I think that's going to be just perfect. It's nice and dry. And I was just cleaning out my brush by just squeezing out the rest of that color. Okay, so now we just have to get that on there. My tape runner is getting empty. Okay. So I think that's going to look a lot better, don't you think? I mean, it just kind of ties together a lot better now and kind of matches. So let's get that on the page. So I guess remember that if you're looking for a particular color cardstock or matte to put behind a photo, you can always make your own color, paint your own color. All right, there's that. And I am going to use glue on this little guy just because he's got these legs hanging off that are very fine. I don't want them to get caught on anything when someone is handling the journal. So I'm going to use my detail glue here, art glitter glue. Okay, and I think just like that. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, so I do have one more decision to make. Because my planner has such a certain type of feel to it, I have to ask myself, am I concerned that, you know, all these pages are, the edges are inked with like a vintage photo-y brown color or dark brown. Am I concerned at all that I am now moving away from that and all of a sudden I'm into these very bright colors? And I have to say it does bother me just a little bit. So let's take a look. I have inked the edges already with like a golden color on this page, but I think I just want to add a little bit of that brown. And I think that's going to make me happy. You know, you don't want to have a completely different look moving through an album that's, or a book that's all about the same theme. So let's pop that one in there. And that looks good. I mean, I'm an edge inker. That's just what I do. A lot of people are not. So it's your own personal choice for sure. But I like to do it. I just like defining those edges like that. All right, and then of course we have to do both sides. This side doesn't need a whole lot. Okay, and so that will go there, and then this last one. Okay, cool. So I am going to take a moment and I'm going to do a little journaling and see if there's anything else I want to add here. And then I will be right back. Okay, my pages are done. I have done a little bit of journaling, just kept it very simple and labeled what type of flowers or, you know, what's in the photo. And I did write a little something about our hike. These two photos in particular were taken right here at our apartment. And so I've kept it very simple and short today. One thing I did want to mention is when I did the live video and showed all those watercolor techniques with the stenciling idea, I had demoed this particular page, and when I was done with the video, I came back and I went with my black pen. This is just a Muji black 0.38 gel ink ballpoint pen. And so I just to see and try it, I thought it was kind of fun. I don't know that I'll use it or not in this book, but just to do a little bit of doodling and outlining on the leaves was kind of fun. So there's all kinds of layers, of course, with the stenciling and the watercolor, and then an actual die cut layered on top, and then the pen and ink. So that's just another idea that you could incorporate into your planner if you were wishing to do so. All right, well, I think that's it for me today. Short and sweet, like I said. I thank you for joining me, and I will be back very soon with more planner pages. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Almost forgot. Summer. Because I had already done this on the other pages for the other seasons, I have to do it here. And so very quickly, the label is from Retro Labels. And the word summer is from Home and Nature. It has all the seasons. Okay, now I'm gone. Thank you. Bye.